Chapter 561 Begin. Headquarters. This is Chen Xiaoxiao. We have separated from Zhang Yi and Liang Yue. They did not obey orders and stayed outside Jiangning Square. Their attitude was too negative. We can't tolerate their behavior, so we chose to leave the team. Over. After listening to this, Zhu Zheng just closed his eyes and said calmly, I know. I agree that you can act on your own. Zhu Zheng, on his side, checked Zhang Yi's side and stopped after walking a short distance. He smiled helplessly with his hand on his forehead. I almost forgot that this guy has always been good at counterattacks. It's really hard for him to be a scout. When a general is away from home, he is not subject to the orders of the king. The mutants in the outer city nominally obey the orders of Blizzard City, but it does not mean that Blizzard City can command them without restrictions. Especially now, letting Zhang Yi go deep into the fog to find the whereabouts of Eclipse Moon is almost equivalent to letting Zhang Yi and others die. So Zhang Yi and Zhu Zheng played a word game and just stopped after moving forward for a distance. Zhu Zheng had no choice. However, this incident will not have much impact on the overall operation. The mutants in the outer city are mainly used as bait, and no enemies appeared in the southeast area, so it can't be blamed on Zhang Yi. Let's wait and see. Zhu Zheng put his hands behind his back and looked at the other two battlefields again. At this time, the battle situation has quickly reached a white-hot state. In the western battlefield, the battle situation on Wu Shifang's side has become increasingly dangerous. Hold him, Mo Zhongning shouted at Wu Shifang. Then he summoned a large number of self-destructing soul beasts, ready to give the great works Yanjin a big wave. Wu Shifang's original body had already had his hands cracked. In desperation, his clone also put away his longbow and chose to fight the great works Yanjin in close combat. He took the Lei Gu Wang Jin Cui from the original body and stood in front of the formation. The clone can be sacrificed, and at most it will only cause Wu Shifang to lose some vitality. But creating the right opportunity for teammates may cause harm to Da Gonghui Yanjin. Seeing the opponent who was resisting stubbornly, Da Gonghui Yanjin showed a contemptuous smile at the corner of his mouth. Wanna stop me? With you, you are still far from it. He rushed towards Wu Shifang's original body and clone like a speeding locomotive. Wu Shifang and the clone were on the left and right, roaring and vowing not to retreat. If they retreated, it would be completely over. If they fought hard, they would still have a chance to survive. Boom! A terrifying collision sounded, and Wu Shifang's clone stood in the front, but his body was twisted into a ball of dough. Wu Shifang's original body used the clone's force unloading to fly backwards in a mess. He fell heavily to the ground, stretched out his hand to cover his chest, and then he bleed in large mouthfuls. Many of his internal organs had been smashed to pieces. If he were not a reinforcement-type mutant, he would have been dead by now. Just as the great workshop Yanjin raised the dragonfly cutter in his hand and was about to chop Wu Shifang to death, the next moment, the great workshop Yanjin's body suddenly disappeared from the spot. By the time he came to his senses, he had already appeared in the air dozens of meters high. At the critical moment, it was Li Wei Hai who used his ability to transfer objects to transfer the great workshop Yanjin away. In addition to transferring the great workshop Yanjin, Mo Zhongning's self-destructive soul beast also appeared beside him. Densely packed, hundreds of crab-like self-destructive soul beasts fell on him and clung to his body tightly. Boom! Intensive explosions rang out in the air, but as the great workshop Yanjin fell from the sky, several people could clearly see that except for some charred hair on his body, there was not even a single wound. Wu Shifang and his men were filled with despair. How could they fight against such an enemy? Before carrying out this mission, they had also thought about how strong the members of Eclipse Moon were. Even though there was an example of the first battle, that battle itself was a test, and the strength of the mutant organizations involved was not at the forefront. This time, the dozen people selected were all top level in the outer city of Jiangnan district. The four of them fought against one person. Even if they didn't win against Da Gonghui Yanjin, they would at least pose a certain threat to him. However, the reality was so cruel. Although they were both Delta-level mutants, the gap in strength was as great as a chasm. He is simply a monster. Mo Zhongning said desperately, covering his head. Dagonghui Yanjin looked at them with interest. Your cooperation is very good. It's just a pity that it's a little too weak. Mo Zhongning's self-destructing soul beast is good at sneak attacks and can sneak attack opponents without knowing it. However, it is difficult to maximize the power of a soul beast with supernatural powers, which enables it to have both reconnaissance and bionic functions. And facing the top beastman, his ability is completely a joke. Dagonghui Yanjin raised the dragonfly cut in his hand. It's almost time to end the fun. I'll send you on your way. He raised the dragonfly cut in his hand and chopped it at Mo Zhongning. His attack was wrapped in the power of thunder, and the terrifying power made the air explode. At this moment, from the distant fog, a meteor broke through the air and hit Dagonghui Yanjin fiercely. Dagonghui Yanjin's eyes condensed. The man's timing was very clever. The moment he swung the dragonfly cut, he attacked the left side of his body. The timing of the attack was very vicious. At this time, Dagonghui Yanjin could not stop his hand to block. His left arm quickly bulged and blocked directly in front of him. The heavy object, like a meteor, hit Dagonghui Yanjin's left arm fiercely. The heavy and terrifying force made the Yokozuna's body shake, and he had to retreat more than 10 steps to the side before he could release the force. When Wu Shifeng, Mo Zhongning and Li Weihai, who were in despair, saw this scene, their eyes gradually lit up with hope. They knew that the God Squad had arrived, the most legendary team with the highest mission completion rate in the entire Jiangnan region. In the direction where the chain extended, a figure slowly walked in the fog. You can retreat first, let us handle the next thing. 3 figures appeared in the thick fog.